Are you thinking about applying for graduate school? In this video, we'll go through the steps you need to take in order to find the perfect school and program for you. You will also learn about the steps you should take when filling out applications and other forms, as well as other things you may need to do before choosing a school and program. Start early. Start looking for programs early, that way you have the best shot getting into the school or program before it fills up. Seek help. If you don't understand something, then call or visit to ask questions about it. If you need help filling something out that you don't understand, then don't be afraid to seek help. Be through when it comes to applications. If you think it's important, include it. You want to make sure you're as qualified as possible. Follow up and follow through. Follow up with your application after you submit it. Following up shows that you are interested, and it also allows you to know where your application stands. Build your graduate school list. The first step in applying to graduate school might seem obvious, but we're going to go there anyway. Build a list of schools, just like you did when applying to college or university when you decided you wanted to earn a bachelor's degree. Your graduate school list should include at least 9 programs, separated into dream schools, target schools, and safety schools. Dream schools. 3 of the graduate programs on your list should be dream schools, meaning they have competitive admission requirements and challenging academic programs, and only the top students are admitted. They may be slightly out of your reach, but you meet some of their admission requirements. Safety schools. The next 3 graduate schools on your list need ones where you'll most certainly get accepted. Safety schools are those for which you exceed the GPA requirement and minimum scores for standardized tests and other exams. If you earned your bachelor's degree from a college or university that has a more competitive admissions process than one of the graduate schools on your list, consider it a safety school. Target schools. The next 3 graduate schools on your list should be those at which you have a solid chance of being admitted. Understanding what differentiates a target school from a dream or a safety school can be challenging. To explain this a little more clearly, target schools are those where you meet or exceed the program's test score requirements, your academic record meets or exceeds the minimum GPA, you have letters of recommendation that prove to the Office of Admissions that you'll be among the top students pursuing this degree if you're admitted. At least one of your letters of recommendation should be written by a professor at the college or university where you earned your bachelor's degree. Your application essay exhibits the meticulous writing skills you developed while earning your bachelor's degree. Make a list of admissions requirements. Now that you have your graduate schools picked out, outline the admissions process for each school on your list. You'll see that many graduate school admission requirements overlap. For example, almost all graduate schools require the same documents: transcripts, letters of recommendation, and entrance exam scores. You can also make minor change to your personal statement depending on what each school requires. Knowing where these overlaps happen not only saves you time, but also allows you more time to work on your application process and your personal statement essays, or to study for an entrance exam. Do you need to take an entrance exam? You will need to determine if you need to take an entrance exam. If so, check your local resources, such as the library, to see if they have entrance exam study books to use, or you can purchase your own. Take a practice entrance exam to determine how long you will need to prepare for the exam. Then book the entrance exam, leaving plenty of time to study. You may be able to get a fee waiver. Some college or departments may offer a waiver. You could also check with other programs, such as TRIO. Study. Check for resources to help you study, such as tutor or study group. Lastly, retake the entrance exam if you weren't happy with your score. As you are researching your dream school, another thing to consider is the financial requirements. Most schools have an estimated cost of attendance that is listed on their website, and they also list how much a credit hour costs and what the fees are. Completing the FAFSA form will help you find any federal money you can use for graduate school. Some schools and states require you to complete the FAFSA in order to receive institutional or state money. You can also find scholarship opportunities to apply for. You also want to consider alternate funding sources to help pay for graduate school. There are a few different ways you can work to earn money or a stip to help you pay for your educational expenses. Federal Work Study. The Federal Work Study program provides part-time jobs for undergraduate and graduate students with financial need. You can earn money to help pay education expenses while gaining valuable experience. Available jobs will vary from school to school, and positions can be competitive because only a certain amount of money is set aside by the federal government for these types of positions. Students must fill out the FAFSA in order to be eligible for federal work-study jobs. Teaching assistants work with professors in a classroom setting. Duties can include teaching undergraduate students, assisting in lab settings, and grading student assignments for classes that are taught. Research assistants support professors and researchers in ongoing research projects. Students will build experience in performing research, build necessary skills, and put their knowledge into practical application. Graduate assistants are salaried student employment students. Students work a set numbers of hours per week in return for a tuition waiver and often a monthly living stipend. Graduate assistants can be found in a wide variety of areas on campus, including athletics, residence life, and academic advising. Some of these types of work experiences are very competitive, and you typically must apply for the positions before the academic year starts. When you are researching graduate schools, note any positions that are available that interest you and when the application deadlines are. Request transcripts well ahead of application deadlines. You will have to send official transcripts to each graduate school you apply to, and to do that, you must request transcripts from the college or university from which you earned your bachelor's degree. You may be able to do it online through the school's website, or you can call the registrar's office. Be prepared to pay for each transcript you request. Arrange to have your school send the official transcripts directly to the master's program you're applying to, as some graduate schools will not accept transcripts that have passed through your hands first. Gather examples of work you've done. If you have to submit examples of work you've done, ask one of your professors or someone who knows you well to look over the work you select so you can put your best foot forward. Also, it's very possible that in your graduate school admission interview, they'll make reference to this work. Know it well, and be ready to talk about it in depth. Triple check each graduate school application requirements. Review each set of admissions requirements for all of the programs on your list before submitting your application and other documents. If possible, submit your grad school applications at least 1 month before they're due. This will ensure that your application is submitted before the deadline. Do you need to take an entrance exam? While you are researching potential graduate schools, make note of the average entrance exam scores required for admission to each graduate program, or if an entrance exam is required. If so, check your local resources, such as the library, to see if they have entrance exam study books to use, or you can purchase your own. Take a practice entrance exam to determine how long you will need to prepare for the exam. Then book the entrance exam, leaving plenty of time to study. You may be able to get a fee waiver. Some college or departments may offer a waiver. You could also check with other programs, such as TRIO. Check for resources to help you study, such as a tutor, study group, or practice tests. Lastly, retake the entrance exam if you weren't happy with your score. Write your personal statement. Your personal statement is extremely important, as it will set you apart from all the other students trying to get admitted to the same program as you. When writing your personal statement, keep the following things in mind. Catch the reader's attention. Remember that the Office of Admissions reads tons of essays. If yours is boring or like all the others, you won't stand out. Position yourself in a way that shows how you'll bring value to the school. This, of course, means that you will have to tweak each one specifically to each school. In other words, you need to flatter the Office of Admissions a little bit. This works especially well if there's a professor with whom you want to work. Share a copy of your personal statement with those whom you've asked to recommend you so they can get to know you better and know what you have told the graduate school. Make sure to ask others to read your statements before you submit them. Letters of recommendation. Most graduate school admission requirements ask for 3 letters of recommendation. When you are thinking about who to ask to write a letter of recommendation for you, consider who can speak well of you. It is important to have at least one undergraduate professor write a letter that can speak to your academic skills. A supervisor, organizational leader, or other non-family members can be great people to write letters for you, as they can speak to other skill sets you have. Be sure to give a minimum of 3 weeks for somebody to write you a letter, and give them any resources, such as a resume or your personal statement, that would assist them in writing a great letter for you. After you narrow down your list of schools and programs you are interested in, and when you have all the documentation you need, there are several steps to complete next. Start working on the application. Make sure you have all of the documentation you need, such as transcripts, resume, personal statements and essays, and letters of recommendation. Keep track of schools you have applied for and the date you applied on. This will help you make sure that you have applied to the school, and it makes it easier to know how long it has been since you applied, so you can follow up if you don't hear from the school. Completing the admissions interview. To prepare for your admissions interview, you will want to research the university or program in depth. Prepare and prioritize a list of open-ended questions to ask. Practice mock interviewing with someone you know. Call to confirm your appointment, and update and bring a professional portfolio if necessary. Lastly, make sure you dress for success, as first impressions are very important. Making final decisions. Make sure you celebrate getting accepted. You may receive multiple acceptance letters, so make sure you take your time to select which school and program you want, and notify the program of your acceptance. If you got accepted into multiple programs, notify the other programs that you are declining their offer. Network. If you are able, start networking with other students in your future class. Get out there and make some friends. When thinking about applying to Gradate School, there are many things to consider, such as: how will you pick the perfect school or program? What are the financial requirements? What should you keep checking when you are applying to schools? Talk to your Trio SS Academic Success Coach if you have any questions about graduate school.